Jared went to.
Okay.
I can't hold the mic down so tall.
Wait, what?
Then he's
Your mother's not short either.
Jared.
Oh my gosh, you're so.
Okay. Homework. Who's got homework?
Sending me all the other.
Right? Oh, I'm supposed to send. I did it. I don't know. It's like, it looks at all of your noses.
Wow, I'm the wrong side.
Wait, I put my economics. I put my economics work and my history work. That's crazy. Wait, I got to put homework.
No, this is this week.
There's no
Yeah.
Don't look at it. It has ugly.
Hey, I got all of yours. I got Joey's. I got yours.
So we went up to
Kayla, is
food,
this
I'm really
yours?
hungry.
Do you have your economic stuff? Cool, thank you.
I still have one chapter to do, but I'll get it to you.
Okay, that's fine. Just, if you can, just email it to me. That'll work.
I can't, my computer's funny about that, so I'll Facebook message it to you.
That might work, yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
You're gonna have like 10 messages from me because like. Yeah.
The one that you've been talking about? Okay, what was that?
I'm just breathing your entire life. Look, Alex. What?
Yeah, Shelly says colored paper.
I just gave you my last report.
I
mean, technically, you have both. But.
Okay, let's go. What's in the news? Anything exciting in the news?
Something about, you know that.
Oh, yeah, there was a fire on one of the interstates in Atlanta this last week. Made the interstate collapse. Yeah, that's not a fun thing.
Bombing in Russia.
Yep, there was a bombing in Russia. We talked about that earlier.
Guardians of the Galaxy going to about 32 days.
32 days?
32 days.
I can start working tonight.
So, yeah, there was another terrorist bombing in Russia. There are 10 plus dead. It was on one of their commuter trains. They actually found a second device, which they have claimed to have disarmed. So it looks like last week we were talking about the attack in London. This week we're talking about the bombing in Russia. I just have to say, how much longer, I said this in my history class, how much longer are we gonna kid around with this idea that we're at war with radical Islam? Now, again, I want to say, we're at war with radical Islam, not the whole, all of Islam. We're going after the radical side. The problem with Islam, though, is that I think it can easily be a radical religion, because of course, if you go to the radical side of following Christ, what does he tell you to do to your enemy? What? Yeah, this is Swenson's. Yeah, today's class is sponsored by Swenson's. I was actually there for a taste test a couple weeks ago. So back to the question. Yeah, I got to taste their new egg salad. It was pretty good. They were testing out a potential new grilled chicken sandwich and a new fried chicken sandwich.
Why was I not invited to those? That was good.
Because it's only select important people.
Then why were you invited?
Because I have important friends. I actually have a friend whose daughter-in-law works for Swenson's, and she contacted him and asked if there was anybody, so a number of us from staff. Huh? Your best friend? Excellent.
Wait,
Okay, so
okay,
so let's answer my question.
Why did you just say that?
What?
Yeah.
My best friend.
Hey.
Why is, if you're a radical Christian, be different than a radical Islam? Radical Christian.
Sorry.
Radical Christian. What does Christianity tell us about our enemies?
Basically, take peace at all costs, even if you're sacrificing yourself for the sake of
You love your enemies.
Love your enemies, that's right. I don't know if I necessarily agree with peace at all costs. But I would have to say that there are some that, though, if you would go to truly to the radical side of Christianity, would basically be a Quaker. Would basically, I can't take up arms against somebody else. Why? Because if I kill them and they're an unbeliever, I'm sending them to hell. And that's really what many of the Quaker tenets would be, is that if you killed somebody and they are not saved, you are sending them to hell and not giving them a chance to learn about Christ.
And if they are saved, then you're killing your brother.
Correct. So that's where, that's where the radical difference is. Somebody who is a Christian that is killing abortion doctors, somebody who's a Christian that does, or abortion doctors is the easiest, or basically treats other non-believers in a bad way, is someone who is not following the tenets of Christ. That's a twisting of Christ's words. Somebody who goes and blows themselves up in the name of Islam, are they violating the religion? Are they twisting it? No. Because it basically states that one sacrificing themselves in the name of Allah is one way for them to get into heaven. Of course, it still basically is Allah wish. So it's really, if Allah sees that your good deeds outweigh your bad, well, I guess blowing yourself up and killing a lot of innocent people, I would think that would kind of outweigh any good deed, but they looked at it differently. Like I said, that would be the radical. We know of a couple of families that are Muslim, and I would basically, they're not radicalized. They're just, they grew up Muslim. They live that life, and they just want to be like anybody else. Go to work, earn a living, come home, spend time with their kids. So, we just have to be careful of where we're at. The other big news, of course, was Trump last week signed an executive order that basically wiped out all of President Obama's environmental requirements. So the goal is Trump wants to bring the coal industry back, which is what he promised in his campaign that he would try to do, is bring the coal industry back. So we'll see how it goes. Anything else in the news that anybody saw? And of course, we talked about this earlier, but Gorsuch is the nominee for the Supreme Court. And it looks like the Republicans are going to try to not get him passed through on by Friday, even if they have to use what they call the nuclear option, which basically means that if normally in the Senate, I'll explain this the history class, normally in the Senate, you have to have 60 votes for closure before you can vote on something. The Democrats have vowed that all of their members of the the Senate will vote not against closure, which means that it won't come for a final vote, which would then keep Gorsuch from being appointed to the Supreme Court. The Republicans have threatened to remove that requirement so that it'll just be a straight up and down vote, which they have enough votes to confirm him. So we'll see what happens by Friday. Yes?
Russia has 2 suspects in the bombing.
Oh, they captured 2 suspects. Well, I'm not surprised. That's the one thing about a communist state is unless you're connected, you do things like this, the chances of getting caught go way up. In a free society like the United States, it's a little easier to get away with things, but not totally. So this week in economics, we looked, you did chapter 21, 22, and 23, which is basically on corporations and businesses and that those kinds of things. So really the starting level of a business is what we would call the sole proprietorship and the partnership. So the sole proprietorship is a business owned and run by one individual. Advantages: ease of operation, potential profits, you're the boss. Disadvantages: limited life, It's a sole proprietorship. You die, it dies. There's no business. Business closes. You are very limited on funds because whatever funds you have or loans you can get is the money you get. Limited abilities because it's you. It only has your abilities. Now you might hire somebody. And unlimited liability. What that means, if you are a sole proprietorship and you goof up, you can be sued. And guess what? They can go after you personally. This is why sole proprietorships are not very common, because nobody wants to lose their house because they own a business. So there's a lot of different things that they go into. So that's really the thing with sole proprietorship. Many people might open a sole proprietorship just to have a, if they want to do a small consulting business on the side, such as, computer work. You might want to do something like that, and then you might have some insurance that you might carry from a local insurance company. Partnership, a business owned by 2 or more persons. Advantages, more money, because you can go, hey, let's pull all of our money together. Woo, it's $20. No, just kidding. But a lot of times, partnerships, law firms, can be partnerships. Healthcare businesses can be partnerships. In a lot of cases, though, again, because of the fact that there is unlimited liability, again, you have less likely for these things to actually happen as partnerships. More and more people are moved towards other types of corporations. The advantages is you're pulling talent. So, 2 heads are better than 1, 3 are even better than that, and so forth. As you build that, you can you get a better talent pool, and the number of abilities increase. Again, though, it has a limited life, limited funds, because again, you're limited to what the partnership brings and what kind of wealth the partnership has. You also have, and partners may disagree, which could cause the partnership to break apart. The other thing with partnerships, even if you form a corporation and you have a partnership, so let's say Tara and Michaela, you form XYZ Corporation. I'm tired of picking on the boys. You form XYZ Corporation. And you both get married and you have nice family and so forth. And you live a long, long time and you're in your 60s. But Tara, because of her driving, gets in a car accident, is killed. What happens then is you have this business that you guys have worked all your life on. Tara's killed. You basically have to shut down the business, Michaela. Yeah. Because of the fact that, guess who gets her half of the business? Her husband. See, and so therefore it's like, wait a minute, I don't want to work with her husband. I can't stand the guy. So a lot of times in a partnership or even some sort of corporation, what the corporation does is it takes out a life insurance policy on the person so that if something tragically happens, the life insurance pays the spouse and you get to keep the rest of the business. It's a good way of doing it. So then you don't have to work with her husband, who's a real one. So that's kind of going through sole proprietorship, partnership. You don't see those as commonly as you do with the corporation. It used to be more common because it took so long to form a corporation. Now, today, you go online and you go to the state of Nevada, or with Nevada.
Nevada. No, wait, what do I say?
This is gonna be just like syrup. It's syrup. Seriously.
It's the same thing, what do you care?
I don't
It's
care.
syrup.
I just-
Okay, so if you go to, you go there, if you, there's a bunch of companies out there, LegalZoom is one. There's a bunch of legal companies out there that will help you form a corporation fairly quickly. And so it's a lot easier to do, which is what we're getting into next, the corporation. The corporation, a business that is licensed by the state or federal government as a legal individual. The license is called the charter. Ownership is represented through stock certificates. People who own the shares are known as stockholders, or sometimes they might call them stakeholders, the people who have a stake in the company. But stockholders. The thing is a corporation can be private, can be public. I think it was Snapchat. I think the guy from Snapchat just took his corporation public. He's now a billionaire.
Oh my goodness, Facebook now has.
Yeah.
We hate Facebook now.
Facebook is,
Hate Facebook.
Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg did the same thing a number of years ago and became a billionaire. He instantly became one of the richest men in the world because of taking a company and making it public means that you're trading stock on that, on the stock market. He kept so much number of shares for himself so he could maintain majority ownership of the corporation, and his stock value based on, that's how Snapchat worked, his stock value was worth at a point where he was worth $1 billion. Now again, it's, should we say, theoretical wealth, because if Facebook dies, then that $1 billion goes away. You know, if the stock tumbles, he loses all his money.
If Facebook died, my life would be over.
You'd find something else, trust me. There was this thing called MySpace a number of years ago, and people said the same thing. MySpace died, oh my gosh. Then came along Facebook. Then came along Facebook, and everybody goes, who wants MySpace? Facebook, this Facebook is awesome.
A lot longer though.
The one that you gotta worry about is, I'm wondering when Trump is gonna bail out Twitter. Because Twitter can't sell, he's trying to sell it, and nobody will buy Twitter because it doesn't make any money. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Twitter in the next couple of years, because it's losing money. It can't sell enough money in advertising, so it's going to have to find a way. And what are you going to do? You're going to start charging people for Twitter? How many people would actually pay to use Twitter? Some people might, but not a lot, because
Me,
you got,
I'd be like, well, sorry.
right, you, especially with like Facebook Live now and other things, I think people would just migrate their stuff over to Snapchat or other ways of doing it.
They should probably go back to Facebook.
Right.
Can you see Trump switching over to like Instagram or something? Like tweeting a picture of his face, look at this beautiful face, it should be framed on the Capitol or something.
So corporations, the advantage of corporation is its limited liability. It also has unlimited life. Because if you guys all start a corporation, you go, you have 10 stocks, you have 10 shares, you have 10 shares, you have 10 shares, you have 10 shares.
I have 10 shares.
You have 10 shares, you have 10 shares. So we divide this up, and if somebody dies, then their 10 shares go to their family, but that's not a big deal. It's not like a partnership where there's this huge thing. The company still continues to move even after the death of the people that started it. Yeah, easy transfer of ownership. If Ellie doesn't want her 10 shares of stock, she can sell them to the rest of you back, or she could sell them to somebody else. So, if somebody wants to come in and take over a company, she could sell them to that person, and then I come in and undermine everybody and take over all the business, and then I'm the king. Disadvantages, like I said, not so much anymore. Is this costly and complicated to set up? It's becoming easier and easier to do these sort of things. Of course, that's if you do a private corporation. If you do a public corporation, there is a lot of things that you have to do in order to create a actual public and offer stocks and stuff like that. So it becomes very, very difficult. The other thing is, because a corporation is considered an entity, a person, and there's a lot of people who disagree that whether it should be or not, and because a corporation becomes a person, it actually is taxed. So we have corporate taxes. And that's one of the things that Trump has vowed to bring down is the corporate tax rate. Because right now, the corporate tax rate, we're at, I think we're at like 25% corporate tax rate, which is like one of the highest in the civilized world. So one of those things that we need to figure out. The other thing is, you're taxed on, the corporation is taxed. After taxes, they have what's called, what's left of their profits. Their profits are usually then distributed to the stockholders, who then pay taxes on the dividends. This is why we get into this double taxation. So, some different forms of these. You have the S Corp. The LLC, which is becoming more and more common. Anybody know what LLC stands for?
Something liability company.
Very good. What do you think?
Loser.
Loser.
Loser llama. Crap. Corporation.
Lost one. I know the C is limited.
Limited.
Okay, little is like somewhat close.
So limited liability corporation, basically meaning that it's a smaller type of corporation that keeps you from being held liable. So if the business messes up, they can't come and sue you for the mistakes of the business. Unless, of course, you're found negligent in some way and personally responsible, then they may come after you anyway, because lawyers have no end of who they go after.
Isn't it awesome? They
What?
can just like find something and dig
I have to do one.
Yeah, that's why I hate
Challenge every
lawyers.
single word that they say.
Not for profit. One of the big things that really bothers me today is you millennials like to think that nonprofit is holy. That because we're not profit, we're above everybody else. No, profit is not a bad word. I hate to tell you, profit is a good word. Why? How many of you would like to earn more than you spend every month? Right? You're making a profit, you evil person.
$3 like last a week, or like what was the thing dropped like 100 and something
So-
dollars like a day.
When you bring in more money than you spend, that's called a profit. And you are personally then making a profit. So that's why profit is good. Now, I'm not saying that because, nonprofits are evil. No, I'm not saying that. Nonprofits have a place, but the thing that we run into is many people think that a nonprofit is better than a for-profit corporation. And I disagree, strongly disagree. You have cooperatives. Of course, Czech is a co-op. Cooperative. It's a type of entity that's filled out business requirements. And then there's government-owned corporation. What do we call a country that is government-owned corporations?
A homeschool co-op.
No. Fascist, right? Or communist too. So yeah, so if you're a government-owned corporation, then you really turn into be fascist. Another thing that we can look at is what we call franchises. Anybody name for me a franchise?
McDonald's.
Somewhat, yes, but they're more of a corporation now. They started buying back.
Franchises like Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A as a franchise type thing. Subway is a franchise. Dunkin' Donuts is a franchise. Huh? Donuts.
I would go
Donuts.
down coffee.
You guys can go after class.
You said it no different, Alex. You're just judging it now.
Donuts.
There was no difference.
People's coffee.
So if you start a business, the nice thing about a franchise is kind of like a type of cooperative. Because what you have is you have this overarching company, like say McDonald's. Well, what does the corporate side of McDonald's do? They come up with the requirements, the regulations, and everything that each store runs itself by. But then what they do is they pulling all of the money from people because you have to pay a franchising fee. You have to give so much of your money every month, so much of your sales every month to the corporate, and then they advertise. They they do the investigation of new products. They do all these things that they give a franchisee the ability to do all of the big things. Some of the up and coming franchises right now. Pizza Fire.
Yeah,
one.
apparently.
Firehouse Subs is one.
Burger
Why
fries
did you-
really good.
Burger Fry is so good.
That's another one.
Really expensive burger place.
But the problem is with a lot of these,
I have $2 at McDonald's.
a lot of these franchises, they get going and they do fall down. I don't remember if,
I can afford that.
was it, what? I'm trying to remember, was it, I don't think it was Applebee's. There's a big name, there's a big name store, or not a store, but a big name, restaurant that was, recent, when the downturn in the economy happened a while back, it started going down. That was a franchise, I can't remember. And those things happen. The other thing about a franchise, Dunkin' Donuts requires their franchises every 5 years to renovate their buildings. That becomes expensive, and guess who pays for it? Not the corporation, you pay for it. So the advantages of doing a franchise, you can start a business with limited capital. It means a lot of times they will help fund you. Oh, I know. CiCi's Pizza.
I love
CiCi's.
So I can fix my family building.
Can we go?
CiCi's Pizza, when I looked into it about
Okay.
10 years ago, CiCi's Pizza, the requirement was you had to come up with $500,000.
We're out
We're
here.
to CC.
Huh?
We're going to see.
If you
Yeah.
We're going.
I love their
We're
own
going to
food.
I can't have any.
So half.
Yeah, they're
So good, so good, so good.
I guess it's not worth it, that's your salad.
I know it's nice outside,
I can't.
No, there's pizza involved now.
You talked about
Pizza.
I know. But CiCi's Pizza has struggled as a franchise because of the cost to get involved
I
in it.
know if it was closer to my house.
Right, there used to be one in Arlington, down on Waterloo Road by the Giant Eagle.
Yeah, I
think it
know, they
closed.
finally
They
closed
closed
that.
2 years ago. We went there all the time.
Yeah, so
Yep,
did
same
they.
here.
Yeah.
Now the only one that you can go to is the
This
one down
one.
in Arlington, next to Panera,
Yeah.
in, down south on Arlington
No,
Road.
there's one in.
So we haven't gone there in 4 years.
Right,
No,
I've been there twice in like
Yeah.
4 years.
Panera is so expensive.
No,
There's
it's
a-
not.
yeah, Panera.
Theirs is actually cheap.
It depends on which Panera you go to and what you order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like if you get the two orders, you can actually save a lot of money.
That's.
It's about.
But the same thing is Applebee's, Chili's, Macaroni Grill, which we didn't like Macaroni Grill.
Well,
Like
Macaroni
Chili's,
Grill is
Chili's
also
was good.
good.
I've only been there once.
Yeah,
Make
me jealous.
I was just like,
What?
no.
What?
The melt is so good. I'm gonna have to go there.
The Melt, yeah, the Melt is another store.
It's
There's
my
one.
favorite.
Yes, there's a new one, up in Fairlawn.
Wait, what's new in Fairlawn?
The melt, it's
Uh,
so
Melt.
good. It's a grilled cheese place.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
they have macaroni and grilled cheese.
It's so good. It's like so unhealthy. You have to work out. That's what I was doing.
I sit in front of
Is
the
that good?
TV. That's how I work out. I sit in front of the
Oh, I haven't. been
Okay,
there.
we're not getting productive.
I know, we're not getting
You
that.
started.
I love not being
I didn't start it.
Come on, people.
I just heard about macaroni.
So, some of the other things about a franchise is name recognition and advertising. Think of McDonald's, think of Burger King,
McDonald's.
think of Kentucky Fried Chicken, those companies. Proven way of doing business. So they could actually come in and help you start your business. In fact, a lot of these franchises, what they want you to do is they want you, in the process of setting up your franchise, you go work at another franchise for 6 months and learn the ropes. So they are training you, they're teaching you, nice beard.
I think baby powder just showed up.
So, but also you have less risk. Because of the corporation behind you, you tend to have a little bit less risk involved in setting it up. You know, when you're setting up and you're going to invest in, say, and do a McDonald's store, you know that McDonald's generally do a certain level of sales. You have some business background there that they can help with you with, so that helps. Disadvantage, restriction on freedom of ownership. High cost, because a lot of times they take a yearly franchise fee, or maybe a couple of years you have to renew. Dunkin' Donuts, they could revoke your franchisee at any time for any reason. Also the cost of getting involved, you have to pay so much money up front to them. You have to then get the store. They have to have approval of the store. They have to have approval of your design. So there's a lot of things that, you really lose your freedom. Success often depends on the reputation of others. What happened to Chipotle about 6 months ago? Remember the food poisoning
They
thing?
had their food poisoning.
Yeah, what happened to their sales?
Went down.
Went down, right.
But then they started selling beer.
Wait, they did?
But sales went down at Chipotle for a period of time until they started, they came together and they fixed things to make it at least appear to the public that they were doing better. So the problem with Chipotle was they had a problem in a few isolated areas,
A few.
which caused,
A few.
correct, which caused the whole entire organization. So if you were a franchise owner of a Chipotle store, which I'm not sure if they're a franchise or not, then you lost sales because of other people's problems. Competition from franchisor.
See, now if I told you we had a mice problem at Chick-fil-A, would you want to eat it? No chance.
Ew.
Correct.
Oh.
Yes.
Really?
But the problem is I've worked enough in food service to know that it's not uncommon for stores to have
It wasn't
problems.
inside the store, it was like.
Stop.
Okay, I mean, for Chipotle to have that because food goes bad on the truck.
Correct.
It's not like you can say, oh, wow, all of the
And
food is
Think
poisoned.
about the fact though, I think theirs was they found it was contaminated from the farm.
Yeah.
Something happened at
Okay,
the farm
yeah, that was
and it
just-
came in and it actually was making people sick. And so it came from a specific supplier even. So what happens is, think about the fact that, and this is why companies like McDonald's and stuff have set up their own farms in many cases so that they can control these kinds of things, because they don't want the same thing that happened at Chipotle to happen to them. So they've even gotten into this idea of controlling even where their supplies come from. Think about CC's is one, a very inexpensive franchise to get involved in is Little Caesars. Actually, it's not too bad to get involved in as Little Caesars. Little Caesars, of course, what is it with Little Caesars? Same sauce, same cheese, all the same ingredients, it's all shipped to you, you just put it together. That's the other thing is, you don't have to come up with your own menu. Whereas if you're your own restaurant, you gotta figure out what food you're going to do yourself. Yes?
There was this restaurant near us, like really cute, it was awesome, but then the road had construction for like 2 years.
I
And
hate
it just like shut down. Yes.
Yeah.
I live in Ohio, so I move.
No, we live where the most construction happens.
Exactly.
At least
we're
For like 4 years, I
Traffic
swear.
where like you have to leave like an hour before you have to get.
Right, the Atlanta traffic is horrible, yes.
Horrible. Terrible. I forgot all about it and then I went down there and like, this is
Yeah.
there.
And it's even worse now that bridge collapsed, or that highway collapsed.
Oh, yeah.
So that's some of the disadvantages of franchise. What?
I didn't do that.
Okay. So I think that's it for our chapters.
Oh, really?
No, he said.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions about any of this stuff? Any questions? Anybody gonna start their own business? Anybody planning on starting their own business?
If you give us like $50 to start food.
See?
Halfway up.
I thought this was a big idea.
Remember, if you start your own business, you're your own boss. You gotta be self-motivated
I am not.
and,
I'd be like, I'm gonna go to like 3
Who is
o'clock.
up for going to CCF because I will drive.
I have no money for that.
Yes,
I'm calling.
like yes.
I want.
I can't have CC's.
Want
I can't
CC's?
have Krispy Kreme. I don't like Chick-fil-A.
so here's a question, since we'll get out of here in like 5 minutes. Here's a question for you. Should a corporation be considered a person? Yes or no?
Not really.
So a corporation is considered a person when it comes to legal status. Let's put it that way. So what happens is a corporation gets the same protection that people get in many respects. A corporation has freedom of speech. A corporation has the freedom to move from place to place, it's supposed to be. There are many people who believe that a corporation should not have these rights. So let's say you guys decide to form a corporation. And your corporation is, guess what? You guys are gonna be the wedding planners. You're gonna do baking, photography, you're gonna help people plan these things. You're gonna pick out all these places where they can have it. You guys are gonna like to run the whole thing. Okay, so this is great. You guys have been doing this for years. You're making lots of money. And then a gay couple comes up and they want to get married. Well, your policy is that you don't do that. Well, as a corporation, now, guess what? You can't. You have to do those sort of things if your corporation is not considered a person. But the proponents of people who say that a corporation is a person is a corporation is made up of a group of people like you, so therefore it should have your agreed upon values. But if you don't have protection as a person, as a legal entity, then it can't have your values. And this is where the issue comes into play for a corporation, yes.
So if the corporation dies, does it have life insurance?
No, but the people in it might. Of course, you might be able to find some insurance company who insure the company. Yes.
Sorry to debate here, but do you think gay marriage should be legal?
Yes.
No.
Should be legal?
You want to
Um,
have a reason?
Oh, here we go. Alex, what? Did you really have?
I have CC's to go too.
Okay, here's why it should be legal. Because the Bible grants us the freedom to sin. We have the freedom to sin. So why should we as Americans prevent somebody else from having that freedom to sin?
The Bible-
If somebody
Wait.
wants to
Here's my
Oh,
opinion.
you're not gonna be
Alex,
Oh boy.
The Bible does not give us freedom to sin. The Bible gives us freedom to be forgiven of our sins. It doesn't give us freedom to sin.
So you mean God didn't give Adam and Eve the freedom
Okay,
to
if
sin?
you had,
He said
There's consequences.
not
You
to.
give them the freedom to choose.
He gave them the freedom to but he gave a way for them to be forgiven of the sin. He said, "Don't touch that tree.
Yes.
There will be consequences."
Doesn't mean like.
okay, so if I were
I can't go out and keep saying,
to,
oh my God, and then just like expect to be.
like if I were
forgiven.
to keep sinning and I knew I was gonna be forgiven, like I would just keep sinning. Cause I know I'm gonna be forgiven anyway, but that's not right.
No.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Here-
So why should the
here's, I
Constitution be
think, where
involved
the
in stopping
question
somebody from doing that?
really comes down to.
Michaela, say it.
Michaela,
No, I can't say
Here-
it.
here-
I'm not saying anything.
Just a second. Here's where the question comes down to.
Who brought this up?
Alex brought up this idea of should
You would kill them.
gay marriage be legalized?
I mean,
Wait a minute, but here's the question. Who marries people? Correct. Not the state.
or the
When the
justice.
state, no, when the state gets involved in marriage, which is clearly in the realm of God's area, then the state has overstepped where it's allowed in. So my thought is, if a gay couple wants to get married, they need to start their own church, and then they can do whatever they want in their church.
Their church is not married.
Correct.
Okay,
It's not something that should be debated on by the state. Because here's the reason, if gay marriage is legalized and becomes an entity of the state, if a church says, no, I'm not gonna marry you because you're gay, now all of a sudden, well, that's a state issue, and therefore that couple can go to the state and force the church to marry the couple.
But the church should also have the freedom to say no.
Well, that's what you're not gonna get into. See, you're misunderstanding really what the debate is about when the homosexual movement asks to say they want to legalize gay marriage. What they want is it to be accepted by everybody, or forced to be accepted by everybody.
What I'm
Yes,
saying,
Alex?
Do you believe that gays can be Christians?
I don't know.
Wait, let me ask the question back to
to
you.
the heart.
Can an alcoholic be a Christian?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay,
You can
Sin's a
stop
sin.
being
All sin's
alcoholic
equal.
if you get
The
saved.
eyes of gold.
okay, yes,
But
but
the
the
point
can
is-
be a Christian, but it's not.
Michaela, you have to say it's not.
can,
Okay, guys,
wait,
have I ever not said something?
can
There's a
a,
good reason I have not said something.
can a
Why not? And
Christian,
then tell them.
okay, can a Christian be an alcoholic?
Yes. Yeah, this is the debate, but
Which
it's not.
one?
Correct, they should not be.
They should not be.
Can a gay person be a Christian?
Yeah, they can. They should not.
But they should not be, because their identity should be in Christ, not in the sin. Where I have a problem is when people, the problem with the homosexual movement, even in the Christian church, is they go, I'm a gay Christian. Wait, therefore you're putting your identity above the identity of Christ.
Why?
And we cannot do that.
Thank you.
We cannot do that. We cannot, if we say we are a Christian, then where is our identity? Our identity should be in Christ, not in who we are. We should be second. What do you get now? What are you gonna blow up now, Alex?
That has caused me for 2 days straight.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, what did I just hear?
What did you do, kiss some guy or something?
Oh, no, it's worse than that.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, what is worse than that?
We don't wanna know, we don't wanna
What?
know.
Don't ask me.
We don't wanna know.
We don't wanna know what.
Alright, so moving on to a different topic, so I don't explode.
Okay,
Wait a
Is
second.
that every being?
The only thing I would say to you is there's a verse in the Bible that says man should not lie with man.
Yes, but
There you go.
there's also one that says that two people who are married to other people should not have adultery. The Bible also says that you should not.
right, but then I never, okay, wait, I've never met somebody who's into adultery that goes, wow, this is a great thing, I think I need to be in it more.
Okay.
Polygamy. Polygamy.
I think the only.
But polygamy is different.
Wait,
Okay, can I
Go
just,
ahead.
I'm gonna say one thing, so I'm
Do
gonna
it.
be quiet so I can get this out.
Look at
Alex is just wanting to
We're
get it out. I think that's why you started this, I think.
I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, we actually do this.
Come on.
Okay, so the one thing you said something about how it was okay. The Bible gives us freedom to sin. Okay.
Beyonce.
Calvinism versus whatever the other side is.
That's not what I was
Oh, no, we're not doing that again. We're not putting Saturday Night
All I was
Football.
gonna say is the Bible. We are talking about Bible. I've been preaching to y'all. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, she's helping.
No. Like the thing is, like the Bible. Yeah, it says like it doesn't say, here's a list of sins that you can do. No. It's like here's a list of things, and there's more to it that you should not do. But you know what? You guys are people. Like I made you. You can have the freedom to do what you want, but there are going to be consequences, and like God isn't.
What
Guys, the thing is,
This whole argument is glass half full versus glass half empty.
what was it that Paul said? That those who are
I was literally about to
drunkards,
say that.
adulterers,
But
he
then,
goes through this whole long list
but then
and
there's
says that they will not inherit the kingdom of God.
I literally just read this in my Bible yesterday. There's a verse that
There
says
is in the Bible.
something about he says like there's a list of things, and then he goes, he talks about God's grace and stuff, and then he says, because we inherit God's grace, does that mean that we should keep on sinning? No, it means that we have to turn from it. So the Bible's not like, okay, here's like, it's okay if you sin because God's grace will cover you. It's not okay if you sin. Like, my grace will cover you when you repent. It's not like, go sin, be bad, and you're gonna get forgiven. No, you have to ask for that forgiveness. Like, that's not the way it works.
Yep.
Okay, continue your debate.
So basically, all this, everybody has their sins that they struggle with.
Yeah,
So we're all doomed.
yeah.
No, that's
we're
not
not
what
all
I'm saying.
doomed.
No, we're all
The
doomed.
only reason that you would
In
be
reality,
doomed,
yes.
We
But
are
because of
doomed.
the grace of God.
Yes.
exactly.
The
But that
Bible
doesn't
says,
mean we should
That
continue
does-
in
yeah.
our sin.
Right. The problem is the mindset.
Guys, the
Hold on, let me talk.
Let me finish.
When you repent, you turn away from that sin. And if you don't turn away from that sin, then really you didn't repent.
Well, the thing is too, is even though you might struggle with the sin, and everybody struggles with different sins, is that you at least acknowledge that it's a sin.
Yeah.
If you deny the fact, if I know some people who say they're Christian and do say that they're gay, but they go, well, God made me this way.
No, he didn't.
Wait a minute, that's not what the Bible clearly states. You're ignoring the fact that it's a sin. And so what you need to do is, as a Christian, that part of repenting is acknowledging this action that I struggle with is a sin, and I need to do whatever I can to walk away from it.
See, the thing is, the point of being a Christian is to be different. We're not supposed to be like, okay, I sin, I'm going to keep sinning because I feel like it. It's no, I'm a sinner too, but like by the grace of God, I've been forgiven, and I'm going to show people that like I'm a changed person. Like, and we're not supposed to walk, and I'm really trying to be nice. I'm working on it. The point, we're not supposed to go out and be like, hey, I am. It's not supposed to be like, hey, I believe that homosexuality is wrong and you're going to hell. No, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be like, hey, I believe homosexuality is wrong. Like, and we're supposed to speak the truth in love. And we can't
Right.
stop it. We cannot.
That's why we disagree with the people who the Christians who put up signs
And
that says God hates fags. That's not true.
And I think the thing is, we have to acknowledge the fact that God hates sin. He doesn't hate the people that are committing it.
Correct.
Because the thing is, we hated God, like, and he doesn't hate us. He hates the things that we do. But the thing is, like, oh my gosh, okay. The whole point of God going to the cross was because we hated him. Like, he wouldn't have gone to the cross if we were perfect. Like, so if you think about it in a way that, like, we sin and we are terrible people, but because God died and rose again, like, we have a reason not to. Like, we have like a second chance to be good people.
Right.
So, like, I don't see why, I don't see how being, even being an alcoholic could be granted in the Bible. Like, it never says that. Like, it's not, like, yes, it's a sin, like, but it's not something that, like, God is okay with, so why should we?
Is it a sin if you don't put it, or like, because I know when you put it before the Lord, it's a sin, but if you don't put it before the Lord, is it a sin?
Yeah, the Bible literally says, don't be a drunkard.
Okay, I'm not.
That's the difference between somebody who drinks alcohol
Yeah,
and
yeah,
somebody who abuses alcohol.
exactly.
It's the same thing. Somebody who,
Smoking, you don't put it before the Lord, like, the Bible doesn't talk about smoking.
correct.
That's a personal
Some people would say,
Is it a sin?
That's a personal conviction. If you
Correct.
think it's a sin, don't smoke. If you do, well then,
correct.
or other way around, whatever I just said. I don't know.
Well, there are
But if you
things.
have no rules.
As you said in the.
So,
Here we are.
well, what about eating there, I was reading something on some beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventists, and they don't believe in no lobster, no shrimp, nothing like that. I mean, what level do you say? Again, that's a personal conviction. There's nothing in the Bible that says you can't smoke. There's nothing. What about smoking marijuana?
It does create some of the same things as alcohol in the brain.
Yeah.
But the better
Yeah.
you-
But hey, the Bible clearly says stuff about or how you ordain yourself. What about tattoos?
See that, okay,
Are
But see,
tattoos?
the thing is, that's also a personal conviction,
That's
because
yes.
the Bible says
Okay,
that your body is a temple, so I feel like
Put no more.
that too, I wasn't gonna go there because I didn't wanna offend
And also,
people.
The-
you don't put
So I
holes
just-
on your body, so everyone with ear piercings, they're gonna.
Well, no, guys,
Women, you're
guys,
supposed to wear hats, covering your glory.
That's like in the Old Testament, we don't have to follow that stuff.
Wait, the head covering, okay, I need to say this. Okay, so the context was that there were a ton of prostitutes walking around with their shaven heads.
Yeah,
So they
it's
wanted them
true.
to head coverings to cover their shaven heads so they wouldn't look like prostitutes in the church. That was for that one town,
That's
one
Old
test.
Testament stuff. What's not?
It wasn't for the rest of history.
Where
Do you see how much they're struggling
Actually,
right now? This is such a
Okay.
I
Let's-
don't remember.
Wait,
where,
hold on.
but it does say.
Let's wrap it up.
Hold on, before we say this, I don't want
Why?
you all walking away thinking that I think that gay marriage is totally fine. No, I believe.
No, I
that-
know.
I just believe that the government should not be controlling people and throwing them in jail because they're gay, executing them because they are gay.
Nobody's executing them,
Who's
but nobody's
executing people
But
because
if
they're
they
gay?
make it, but if
This
they make
is
it illegal, what's the?
2017, we don't execute.
They don't have to make
In
them
fact,
legal, but they don't have to
actually,
make them legal.
You've got the complete opposite happening. You have it going the other way, where baker is losing their business because they won't bake a cake for a homosexual couple for their wedding.
I believe that should
So-
be their right to do that.
Well, then I think
They have the right to do that.
you're going the exact wrong way, because if you say that gay marriage is legalized, then you're actually you're going to give the total authority back to the homosexual,
It says.
and they're gonna be able to dictate.
I think there
And
should be
you're
a
not-
double legislation and decide that
Yeah.
that any business
I don't wanna
owner
say what
should
I
say
say.
no to one of
Yeah.
their spots.
Now,
See, I'm not saying one way or the other, I'm saying that there's truth in both of them, and I think there's a whole nother option to it.
First
well,
teachers
yeah,
don't
I
allow
think
it.
to some degree, there's a little bit of naiveness and lack of experience as to
Because
what
men
their
are-
motivation is in the, actually in the gay movement, and not
They're
necessarily.
not supposed.
You may be
That's
talking
why we
and
need more
wanting
legislation.
balance, but they don't want balance.
The
They
thing
don't
is,
want
the thing is,
We can't
it
just
really
legalize it, we
doesn't
have to add
matter,
something.
okay,
Okay,
just
I have
pause for
problems
2
with
seconds,
this,
Tara,
guys.
please, really quick.
Please, really quick.
No. So, the thing is, it really doesn't matter. It does, but ultimately, it doesn't matter whether or not it's legal or illegal, because you know what? It's, in the Bible, it says it's the same.
Correct.
And as long as we let people know that, okay, they know, it's their choice to, keep walking with it. Like,
And-
as Christian
And
Alex,
nobody,
put your hand
no,
down.
I don't think anybody here thinks that you
Oh.
are for,
Yeah, no,
believe that
it's
it's not a sin.
honestly just like, okay, God said this wrong, and as a church as a whole, like, we should be preaching that, okay, preaching that in love, but like, that's it. Like, okay, the government is corrupt, sort of.
yes.
Okay,
Very much
so
so.
like, we're never gonna be able to control this country. Like,
Correct.
it's ultimately God's in control, so like, there you go. What did you have to say?
Okay, so you said like we could tell them that they're wrong and everything, but like, and like, yeah, whatever. But why should we judge them when?
Where it's not judging, it's, if you see, okay, if you see someone that is sinning, why should we just let them sin? No, it's our job
Well,
as Christians.
if you,
Just point them out.
the key is, we are commanded to preach the gospel. But what's the gospel? It's supposed to be the good news.
Right.
And the thing is what we should be teaching is we should be focused in on one sin of homosexuality. We should be focusing in on the lost souls and the people who are, because of their ignorance and own actions, are choosing hell. And therefore, we need to not necessarily convict people. We need to watch, one of the weeks when we're slow, I'm gonna bring in the movie 180. Anybody here seen the movie 180?
No.
I think I showed it last year. Great movie on how to evangelize a lost culture. So I'll see when there's a week when we're gonna have less to do, and I'll bring that in and we'll watch it, okay?
But here's the thing, these people, they need help so bad. They need help so bad. They aren't just,
But making
I
it
thought about
legal
that.
or
And I said
illegal is
not.
not gonna help them.
But if we make
And
it
if you
legal,
make
we're
it-
showing them that we're not judging them and saying.
But we
No,
don't,
I
no,
think-
see,
Not
see,
the
the
I think
thing is,
it's, they're gonna go
Like,
the other.
no matter what, they're gonna think that we hate them because we say that it's wrong. So by making it legal, we're just allowing them to continue sinning without
Right.
publicly getting in trouble for it.
We're making it the government's job to keep freedom.
But it's not,
The
but it's
church's
not their
to
job.
preach.
It's our job to tell them.